It's 6:30, so good evening, everyone. Mayor Pro Tem Wolf is away and joining us remotely, so I've been asked to help facilitate the meeting. Let me turn off my microphone. All right, there we go. So with that, I'm calling the City Council workshop meeting to order. City Recorder Krager, would you please conduct a roll call, please?
Councillor Robbins.
Present.
Councillor Slack.
Here.
Councillor Shaw.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wolf.
Here.
Youth Councillor Hellick.
Here.
Councillor Hu.
Here.
Councillor Gudusi.
Present.
Thank you. Would you all please stand to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Next item on our agenda is call for non-agenda items. Councillor Robbins, I believe you have one item you want to bring up.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Hu. I adding an agenda item for the council to designate the voting member for the League of Oregon Cities conference that's coming up next month. We have to choose amongst us who are going to attend, who's going to be the voting member who represents the council.
Very well, thank you. We'll discuss that. And city team, city manager, do you have any non-agenda item? No. Okay, with that, let's move on to next section, which is public comments. So if you want to make a public comment, the calling number is 503-966-4101, and those wishing to comment should call now to get into the queue. Anyone present wanting to comment should sign up on the public comment form at the front of the room. All right, so we have received 4 written comments before our Monday deadline. 3 of them is about camping time, place, and manner, and 1 of them asking about a city response to items in the former mayor's resignation letter. Okay, next item is the public comments. So we have 3 people signing up for public comments. And so the first person is Yasmin Martinez. Please come forward. Welcome. So good evening. So you have 2 minutes after you state your name and where you live. So please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Martinez, and I'm a resident of Tigard. Good evening, Council. I'm here to speak in strong support of the adoption of the Proactive Rental Inspections Program for Tigard. The program is not about adding red tape. It's about protecting our residents, our neighborhoods, and long-term health of our city's housing stock. Right now, we rely heavily on complaints to uncover unsafe conditions, but many tenants, especially seniors, families with children, or those concerned about retaliation, are often reluctant to report problems. A proactive program ensures that hazards like mold, faulty wiring, and lack of heat are identified and fixed before they become an emergency. That means healthier families, fewer cost of displacement, and less strain on city resources like fire and emergency response. For landlords, this program protects property values and prevents small maintenance issues from becoming expensive repairs. It also creates a level playing field, so responsible landlords aren't undercut by those who neglect their properties. For the community, it means safer neighborhoods, reduced blight, and stronger sense of equity, especially because every renter, regardless of income, deserves to have a safe home. I know there are concerns around cost and administration, but with a fee-based, tiered, or phased structure modeled after Gresham's program, Tigard can fully fund inspections, outreach, without drawing on the general fund. In fact, these programs often pay for themselves while delivering measurable improvements in the housing quality and public safety. In short, this is about fairness, prevention, and community pride. By adopting PRI, Tigard can make a strong commitment that every resident, whether they're owner or renter, deserves a safe, healthy, and dignified place to call home. Thank you for your time and for your leadership.
Thank you. And next up is Elise Scher. Hi, Elise. Good evening, and yeah, please state your name and where you live, and you have 2 minutes. Oh, your mic is off.
38.58% of the citizens here in Tigard are living in rental units. And that's a big number. I would really like to see, like on the slides that will be presented later, you have options of what you're looking at as to priority and immediate action versus lesser priority and possible budget action. Nearly 40% of your citizens are in rentals and they need protection. They need protection from landlords who don't follow through, and they need protection from property management companies subcontracted by the landlords. We keep talking about the rental registry that's proactive, that we're hoping will come through as to register the landlords, but what we're actually registering are the properties, and we're holding the landlords accountable, and we also need to hold the property management companies accountable because they are usually separate entities. So I just want to make sure that 31.36 of the households have children, that those families are protected, and that the elders, our senior citizens, and the growing population of senior citizens are protected, and the budgets aren't climbing. You know, their incomes aren't climbing, but the rates keep going up 10% a year, 10% a year, 10% a year. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. And next one we have Jim Ah. Jim? A-H-L? Jim? Oh, Jim All, yeah, Jim. Welcome. So please state your name and where you live, and you have 2 minutes, Jim.
Yes, my name is Jim.
Turn it on. Green is on. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Go ahead.
Jim All, and I'm a 10-year resident of Tigard, a resident of Wood Springs Apartments across from King City. I'm also the president of the Wood Springs Tenants Association. And our primary focus is, at this point in time, as being an older adult and a member, not a senior, an older adult now we're called, and a member of the St. Anthony's Justice Committee, our focus is to try to speak to and address affordable housing, which unfortunately in Tigard is not affordable. And so the emphasis needs to be to provide facilities to think about those lower income older adults and families with children who really are unable to afford the type of rentals that are available. So in our planning, and I'm happy to see in your work here that you are doing good work, and we appreciate the emphasis on affordable housing because, in our opinion, affordable housing is part of the issue with homelessness. Homelessness is just not a drug issue or a health issue. Affordable housing may even be one of the root causes of homelessness. So if we address that, we should have a chance to be able to reduce homelessness and also to assist those who are disadvantaged. And so we appreciate your help and your consideration of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Oh. Okay, we have a Donovan. I can't read the last name. Manfredi, okay. So please, Donovan. So welcome. Please state your full name and where you live, and then you have 2 minutes.
My name is Donovan Manfredi. I live in Tigard. I'll say I'm here for the youth of Tigard. I coach a lot of baseball. I coach football. I coach basketball. I work at Mesker Elementary as an LSA for the SPED department. And I feel like the homeless people that are at 99 Hall, it's just too much. And I got to drive by every day to like go to practice. And like the bums are just right there on by 7-Eleven. They just cross back and forth. They don't abide by any laws. And it's just getting kind of just overran. And I don't know if you guys were aware of that, but I almost feel like they're getting bussed in from like Portland. Because I see them get off of the bus and then they walk down to that shelter just for compassion, I think is what it's called. And I'm just a dad. I don't know if I'm going to do any good. I just wanted to voice my opinion. And I think if you guys can cut down the homeless, I'd appreciate it. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Donovan. Next up first is Maribez. Sorry if I pronounced it. Hi.
Hola, mi nombre es Maribella. Bueno, queridos concejales, mi nombre es Maribella Uzcategui, he sido residente de Tigard durante 1 año y 4 meses.
Dear council members, my name is Maribella Uzcategui. I'm a resident of Tigard for 1 year and 4 months.
Estoy aquí para plantear mis preocupaciones sobre el tema de inquilinos, debido a que fui afectada desde el invierno hasta el 1 de octubre del 2025.
I'm here to express my concerns about the tenants' issues since they appear since I've been affected from the winter of January 8, 2025.
De octubre, no, de agosto, perdón.
From August.
Bueno, nuestro caso fue que en casa donde vivíamos hace un mes habían problemas de moho negro y mi hijo fue gravemente afectado.
Our case was that the apartment where we used to live, there was problems with black mold and my son was seriously affected.
Empezó con una tos constante, pasé el invierno más en el hospital que en casa.
It started with a constant cough. I spent most of the winter more in the hospital than at home.
Luego el doctor declaró asmático a mi hijo y al realizarle los exámenes para ver qué tanto había afectado el moho,
And then the doctor diagnosed my son with asthma, and after being evaluated to see how was he affected,
nos dijo que eso le produjo un asma y nos pidió hablar con los administradores del apartamento.
and he told us that that was the cause of the asthma, and he asked us to talk with the administrators of the building
Y que nos mudáramos inmediatamente.
and to move as soon as possible.
El caso es que no soy la única que está pasando por esta situación, son muchas las familias que se enfrentan de una vivienda a malas condiciones.
The truth is, I'm not the only one facing this situation. Many families live in poor housing conditions caused by neglect and lack of,
La cual por falta de mantenimiento y cuidado y responsabilidad por falta de los propietarios,
caused by neglect, lack of maintenance, with owners
solo centrándose en sus intereses económicos y no les preocupa la vida y salud de sus inquilinos.
prioritizing their economic interests with disregarding the health and lives of their tenants.
Sentí la necesidad de testificar y compartir mi historia para que en el momento de rentar tengamos más cuidado y le exijamos a los propietarios los mantenimientos necesarios para prevenir este tipo de casos tan lamentables.
I felt the need to testify and share my story so that when it comes to renters, we can be more careful and demand that landlords provide the necessary maintenance to prevent these unfortunate and delicate situations.
Los cambios que podrían hacer el ayuntamiento para abordar el asunto con el problema de arrendamiento sería hacerle seguimiento a los propietarios.
The changes the city council could make to address the rental issues will be monitor owners and proprietors.
Y propiedades y exigirle que cada cierto tiempo entreguen el estado de pruebas de que están cumpliendo con el mantenimiento y reglas de salubridad en cada rincón de los apartamentos.
Require them to periodically provide the city with proof that they're complying with maintenance and health standards in every corner of the apartments.
Y para culminar, más respaldo para las familias afectadas y asesoría al momento de un problema de gran magnitud como el que me pasó a mí.
And to finish, more support to affected families and advice in the event of a major problem that happened to me.
Antemano agradezco al alcalde y a los miembros del Consejo Municipal y a todos los presentes por su tiempo y poder escuchar mi testimonio.
I want to thank the mayor and the members of the council and everyone here for their time and for hearing my testimony.
Thank you so much. Anybody else who want to speak and haven't signed up yet? Okay. Let's move on to public comment for phone or in video session. Mr. Wood, are there any people on the phone or video caller waiting in line?
Councilor, no callers in the queue and no requests for video comment.
All right. So let's move on to community updates. First one will be Tiger Area Chamber of Commerce, and we have the Chamber Board Chair, Sarah Tanner, to give us an update. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So this is my only second meeting as the elected chair, so here we go. A couple of things that are happening right now. We have our Tiger Chamber leadership class. The applications are open, but they do close at the end of this week. We still have a few spots available, so if anyone is interested. There are payment plans and scholarships available, and as a participant of the program, I can say it was very worthwhile and eye-opening, and I'm really glad that I participated in it, so I would love to give that commercial. We are for education and advocacy. We spend a lot of time, obviously, having this as a priority for our chamber and the board, and we're ramping up our efforts currently with Work Ready and the Tigard-Tualatin School District to help create a robust pipeline for students and our local employers. And one of our non-voting members is an employee of PCC. So we're trying to maintain that relationship and do whatever we can to get our kids through the system and into another system and then career bound, which is really exciting to see. We last week, I don't know if any of you were able to attend, but in partnership with the WCCCP, hosted an end of the legislative session debrief with our local state elected officials, and it was very eye-opening for me. And there's a lot of work to do, it turns out. So thank you for all of you who do public service, because it's hard. We currently have 7 applications pending and 4 completed for the Small Business Sustainability Fund. And Megan and her team have learned a lot through the process of assisting the city of Tigard with this program. And Megan currently has requests into the city for some minor adjustments that businesses would like to see. So if you have questions about that, please defer to Megan. Our farmers market, if any of you have been able to go, it's fabulous, and it is the place to be this fall. We have lots of fun events planned every week, and our SNAP matching programs are continuing through the end of the season, thanks to the city of Tigard and Double Up Food Bucks. The market is open Sundays 9 to 1:30 now through the end of October in Universal Plaza. Every week on Thursday, we do the Good Morning Tigard, which is also a great thing to attend. You don't have to be a chamber member. Government officials are always welcome, but it's a really fun way for us to connect, meet people in the business community, find out what their needs are, and just network with each other. And then coming up, and I had mentioned this during the last meeting, but our State of Business is happening on September 24th from 9:30 to 2:30. And this year, our State of Business Day is going to focus on shaping Tigard's future, innovation, investment, and inclusive growth. And this is the part I had mentioned. We would love to see any or all of you there. It was a really robust day. You don't have to be there for the full day, and I know you're all busy, but it was a great space to listen to the needs of business and see them interacting, business owners interacting with each other. And then we'd love to have that next connection again about the people who can actually make decisions. So would love to see you there. You are warmly invited, but please RSVP so we can have coffee and lunch ready for you. And then Megan wanted me to mention as well a special thank you to Columbia Bank for serving as our title sponsor. And then finally, you can follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook for the most up-to-date information. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you. Any
No?
questions or comments?
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. And next up, we have Police Chief Report, and Chief McDonald is unavailable tonight, so Lieutenant Prater will present the Tiger Police Department dashboard report. So welcome, Lieutenant.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Wolf, and good evening, City Council. I'm Lieutenant Jared Prater with the Police Department, and Chief McDonald's out of town this month, so you get me. I want to hit just a couple of the highlights of the strategic dashboard. I'm very pleased to announce, and hopefully you all got copies of it in your packet. I want to call your attention to the employee snapshot page, and I'm very pleased to announce that we've been able to do some hiring lately. We currently have 3 recruits down in the Police Academy in Salem. They're in various stages. Hopefully they'll be successful in that, and then when they come out of the Police Academy, we'll get them with some field training officers and get them through training. We do have 1 officer currently in phase 1 with a field training officer. We do have 1 new police officer starting at the end of the month, and then we have several in backgrounds, including a couple of lateral officers that are interested in coming to our department from other police departments. The next thing I want to call your attention to is the slide that's up. We're up and running now for just over a month with our new photo red light and photo speed enforcement vendor, Vera Mobility. They have been great, and I do have to say that not only is the technology better, but their customer service has really been second to none. Every time we have needed to have something addressed, they have absolutely taken steps to address that as quickly as possible. Like I said, the technology is much better than our last vendor. For example, we now are getting motorcycle plates off of it, where our vendor before couldn't get motorcycle plates. The one thing I do want to call your attention to is intersection speed, and specifically for Southwest Pacific Highway and 72nd Avenue. If you notice, in month of issued down there, it says we issued 1,418 tickets. There were overall 1,732 tickets received, or 1,732 incidents received, and 1,675 issued for both of those intersections. However, and I did have to go back and check the numbers twice when I put these down. As you'll see, in 2024, off of Southwest Pacific Highway and 72nd Avenue, we issued 2,437 tickets from the old vendor for that entire year. This year to date, not only did we issue 1,418 in the month of August alone, we were down for a few months with that other vendor, and we've already issued 3,134 speed enforcement tickets at that intersection. So we've exceeded last year. So with that, I want to take the opportunity and remind everybody that's here and everybody that's watching, the speed limit on Southwest Pacific Highway at that particular intersection is 35 miles an hour. As you can see, 1,418 people got a reminder that they were over the speed limit there. And I'm not just talking a couple miles an hour over the speed limit. When you get a ticket in the mail from one of these things, you're severely over the speed limit. So just a public service announcement. Please obey the speed limit throughout the city of Tigard. And lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't mention we're having the Family Fun Day at the police department on Saturday. This Saturday, the 20th. You can bring your family down. It's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can do everything from take tours of the police department to see all the police department's equipment, including the drones. We'll have canine demos. We'll have motor officer demos. You can try on our VR goggles and go through a couple of scenarios on VR. So please bring your families down, take part in that. We'd love to see you all be out in the VR area if anybody wants to come and take part in that. And with that, I can try and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Councilors, any questions? Councilor Robbins, please go ahead.
Thank you, Lieutenant. I just want you to know I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about the speeding tickets right as you come off the freeway. Might be going a little fast down 99. I didn't pay for half of the speeding tickets last year all by myself. No, I did have a constituent ask a question about the new lights and the flashing. And so I did talk to Chief McDonald, and he explained it. But if you could just explain for us on the record, kind of, for everyone to know, sometimes it seems like when you're going or approaching an intersection, it's flashing, even though it doesn't seem like anyone is doing anything wrong.
Correct.
And maybe that's distracting, or do we have to worry about that?
Yeah, most commonly, the vendor has to run certain tests on the equipment to make sure it's calibrated, to make sure it's working correctly. And part of those tests are testing the flashing mechanism. And so most often that's the reason that it's going off.
Just to follow up, is it flashing more or brighter than the previous vendor, or is it better or about the same?
No. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. The technology's better, so we're capturing more. And I think in talking to Lieutenant Erickson, who is the liaison to that program, I think the equipment just works better. And so some of them that we may have not been capturing before, we're currently capturing. And like I said, for example, with the motorcycles, we've gotten quite a few motorcycles in there as well.
Okay, Youth Councilor.
This is just a clarification question. What's the difference between received and issued tickets?
So the vendor will send us what they call incidents. When somebody's violated the law enough to trip the equipment, they'll send us out a package of information, including the vehicle, photographs of the driver and the vehicle, things like that. There are certain times when we can't issue a citation based on the information that the vendor has sent us. So we will, in effect, refuse to issue that citation because each one of those events is looked at by a live police officer that could actually go into court and testify that they saw the violation. So that's what that means.
Thank you.
I believe next person is Councilor Shack.
Thank you, Councilor Hu. Just wanted to make two comments. One, thank you for the plug for Family Fun Day. I know I'm looking forward to it along with my colleagues. We will be tabling to talk about the Building a Better Tigard project that will hopefully be coming to ballots in May 2026. And if you want to hear more, residents, come find me at a booth on Saturday. I'd be glad to talk to you about it. And I also just wanted to say that I'm really happy to hear about the recruitment efforts at the police department as well. I know it's a topic that frequently comes up when I talk with residents about policing in Tigard, and it's a high priority for this council to make sure that we're able to continue meeting the needs of our community, and that starts with people. So thank you so much for those updates.
Thank you. And we have online Councilor Shaw.
Great. Thank you so much, Councilor. Question regarding, just following up on Councilor Robbins, because I've had actually a few questions too, and I may or may not in the past have had an infraction, but the bright lights can be rather startling. And is there any information, Lieutenant Prater, of any potential accidents that have occurred because of the startling white light that flashes?
I have not heard of any, but I can also talk to Lieutenant Erickson and Chief McDonald and see if we can find any information of a crash being caused specifically because of the flashing, and Chief McDonald should be able to present that back to you next month.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank
See
you.
See you on Saturday. All right. Next, we have Council Board and Committee Liaison Report. And first person up is Councilor Gudusi.
Thank you. I'll start with the library. Some of the big building projects that they're going to be doing include the roofing project and the HVAC upgrade. The timeline's pending. It'll be about 6 to 8 weeks where the building will be closed. So they're currently talking about what to do with that at that time. One other thing that I'm excited about is they're also talking about like a second floor redesign in terms of lighting, moving things, low expense, high benefit with that sort of thing. They received a grant for people with disabilities, and some of the things that they had talked about was things like sitting and standing desks, larger keyboards, mouse trackers, and things like the Jot tablet at the reference desk, which is useful, and a Fusion software to help read screens and help with accessibility of the computer systems that they have there. With the Parks and Rec Board, the last meeting, we ended up going to a few of the parks in town, primarily around the River Terrace neighborhood, looking at both the neighborhood and the community parks, and we ended up at the Lossage property, and one of the big things that they want to do is try to get all of council over there to help envision what the overall plans are going to be. So look for an invite from PRAM.
Thank you. So the library's lockers are gone, right? The checkout locker. Do you know if there are any more plans for future or? Sorry,
Halstead is on. If you can speak to the library lockers.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Not at all. That's why I'm here. Hi, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me and see me okay.
Yes.
Yes, the lockers were a pilot project with WCCLS, and they have been decommissioned. We don't have plans to have lockers again because they were so infrequently used by just a few patrons, but I think that it's something that we should consider for if we can find and locate 24/7 lockers somewhere in our community. So they would need to be weatherproof, which is difficult in our particular part of the world, but I think that might be an exciting opportunity to expand access into the community.
Thank you so much for the update.
You're welcome.
All right, so next up is Youth Counselor, please.
Hi. So with TIAC, with Tigard Youth Advisory Council, we just yesterday had a meeting where Brent Stockwell came in, as well as Maddie, whose last name I'm blanking on, from the police department. Do you remember? Bauer. Yeah, thank you. Just to talk and observe with us our meeting. But right now our biggest focus is figuring out a clothing drive that we want to set up. We want to set up a clothing drive working with Just Compassion for specifically men's clothing, because they are in need of a lot more men's clothing than women's clothing right now, specifically winter. So we're planning on figuring out times to set up a drive to have at the Tigard High School, the Tigard Library, and potentially the St. Anthony's Catholic Church, I believe, and have a couple locations and advertise that to work, because we want to focus a lot on houselessness for that, and also figuring out what we're going to do once our new members come in like December, January, whenever that happens, and potentially having little or groups of people in subcommittees to tackle whatever else we want to tackle instead of just one big problem. So.
Thank you. And I guess I'm next, so let's see. Let me find my notes. So since our liaison report, which was 2 months ago, I attended 2 CHART meeting, which is Community Homelessness Assessment and Response Team. We generally discuss about safe parking, and there are 2 more churches in Tiger who are who have expressed interest in potentially hosting them. So the talk is ongoing. And since then, they also advertise open house and ribbon cutting at our 2 family shelters in Tiger, Family Promises, which is Bridge to Home, and a lot of us were there for their reopening on August 27th. And there was also open house at Good Neighbor Center, and I believe, Councilor Robbins and I were there along with some city staff. Right now, the housing situation is pretty dire, as we know. State rental assistance fund has been cut in half, and federal government funding is pretty much totally gone. So it is reported 1 to 2 weeks wait list for congregate shelter. But the group continue to share stories of success. There's still challenges, but it's very heartwarming to hear that when they house individuals who were needing assistance. I also attended the Lake Oswego Tiger Partnership Committee meeting with Councilor Robbins, and she has agreed to provide summary of that. And just a quick shout out, on August 28th, a lot of us also attended ribbon cutting of our newest Reservoir 18 at Sunrise Park, so that was very exciting. For TCAC, for the August meeting, we had a joint tour of the Tiger Triangle with the TTAC, and several of the council members were in attendance. So we toured the area either by car, by bus, or by bicycle. And I was touring with my bicycle with Sean Montanus, and our senior transportation planner, Jennifer, and that was quite a unique experience riding from downtown Tiger all the way to Tiger Triangle and on the 72nd. This last week, September 10th, we had a meeting, and our city manager was there to introduce himself to the commission. The commissioners received update on the downtown wayfinding plan. There were several design options that were selected, so they were going to go up pretty soon. And there was also discussion on the modified Nick Wilson Memorial Plaza project, and TCAC submitted a recommendation to the council, which I believe we already received it, but if not, we're going to get it soon. Also, the commissioner received briefing on the formal on the progress made at the former Tiger Cinema site, and the take-home message is that the council or the board will receive park concept plan in 2026. And also yesterday I attended the TIF grant subcommittee with Councilor Schlack, and he has kindly agreed to provide that summary of that that meeting. So that's all I have. And next one will be Councilor Robbins.
Thank you, Councilor Hu. You were very busy. And also thank you for reminding me that we didn't actually have a workshop meeting last month, because I couldn't remember if I'd updated about my activities in July. So I did attend in July the Committee for Community Engagement. I did a presentation there along with Nicole Hendricks, who kept me on track, and discussed the council goals and how the CC's work supports the goals, how the kinds of activities that CC does can help us get important work done. They also had a presentation on the police public works facility, and again, how CC members can really help spread the word and get engagement from residents in the community, and also, of course, supporting the bond measure that's coming up next May. And also a little update on the Tiger Service Request platform, which is working well. In July, we also attended the Tigard Lake Oswego Water Partnership meeting. We had a couple excellent presentations from staff on both conservation measures and water quality control during the meeting from staff. We found out that the plant is now fully staffed, which is exciting for them, and a lot of small projects were completed. And one thing that I think is really exciting is we have started an on-site chlorine generation study, because until we started this study, we had to buy chlorine to put into the water to treat the water. But now, similar to those people who have saltwater pools, we can use regular salt, just like table salt, and you run it through a little electrical device, and it breaks that down into chlorine. And so that's good, because for one thing, it's much safer to handle salt than it is to handle liquid chlorine. And second, we only have one source for that chemical, the liquid chlorine, and so we are at the mercy of supply and pricing, and now going for something that's much more readily available and easy to handle. It's a lot cheaper, and we have more sources. So hopefully that is successful and we can continue with that, but we'll have to wait and see. And then in August, the Water Advisory Board met. We are wrapping up preparations for the annual meeting so that we can have some good things to discuss with council. We did have a minor presentation and discuss some of the emergency preparedness plans that the city has with water and how that is audited and regulated, coordinated with federal agencies. It's not just the city kind of making up these things. It's very detailed. We did try to discuss a cell tower leasing agreement and renewing it, but I asked for some more information, so we're going to look at that again this next month and see some real numbers, and certain that it'll be good for us, but I just wanted more details. And we were hoping to have a tour of the water plant, but unfortunately we had to cancel that due to scheduling, so we're going to work on that.
Thank you. And Councillor Schlack.
Thank you, Councillor Hu. Pretty light month over this summer for me with my assignments. The one update that I have is an update from the Urban Renewal Funding Selection Subcommittee. That meeting was yesterday, September 15th. I attended with Councillor Hu and other members of the subcommittee. There was a review of the status of current grant recipients to date, as well as a very thorough discussion on the proposed new consolidated application process for receiving grants. Previously, there were effectively 4 different applications with different criteria, and the committee wants to simplify that to make it a lot easier to process and also a lot easier for applicants, and also make sure that we're focused on asking the questions that we currently care about. So a lot of questions around unmet needs in the triangle, some refined questions around sustainability, and other good data points. That's an ongoing discussion, so those won't be launched until later this year. And that is my only update. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Shaw.
Great, thank you, Councillor Hu. Just want to reiterate with regards to the Town Center Advisory Committee and the Tigard Transportation Advisory Action Committee that got together for the collaborative tour. Councillor Hu, you mentioned you rode your bike. Both Councillor Schlack and I rode transit with many other folks, and it was a terrific way to know that transit does work, the bus does work, and that we were able to get to the TIF district and look at Red Rock Creek stabilization, the 72nd Avenue pre-design project within the TIF district, and several others. So thank you to our staff for putting that collaborative 2 committees together. I think it was well worth the time, and it fostered a lot of excellent dialogue. Also, with regards to the Transportation Advisory Committee, we welcomed new TTAC member Sarah Bentley, and we also received a Safe Streets Action Plan. Yes, great to get new committee member on board. And we talked about really kind of safe street strategies, what the priority are for safety corridors, for public engagement, as well as we talked about the Tigard Electric Transportation Plan, which includes the goal of enhancing safety, walkability, and lower carbon emissions. And that's the development of policies to better utilize curb space, shared electric vehicles, and policies with regard to e-bikes and e-scooters. And the goal is to include this within the transportation system plan update here shortly. There's also an update on the Murdoch Street sidewalk project, which is about 8 to 10 feet wide in certain segments, which is also going to be accessible to both pedestrians, but also bikes. And that also there's an update on the Hall overpass by Plouffe, which is going to be, it's open, but there needs to be some additional asphalt that needs to be laid in order to ensure that those who ride bikes will have a smoother transition across the new bridge. And then lastly, and I believe Shannon's also in the room tonight, but Washington County Public Affairs Board met, and we met on September 11th. I'm not supposed to state, but we had a fantastic meeting. We held a public hearing to hear the draft Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, otherwise known as CAPER, and it outlined the accomplishment of FY24 and renewed the goals for accomplishments for the 5th year of the 2024 plan with regards to CDBG and home and housing. And the board endorsed the 2024 CAPER report for submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD. And we also received an update on the CDBG as proposed application updates, as well as home proposal workshops, which will be occurring September 22nd and October 23rd. And we'll ensure that these dates get out to staff. And there was also updates on CDBG application proposals and home applications. And at this time, we do not believe there will be an impact upon funding of the grants from the federal government, but that can also change, and we'll keep the council up to date. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Wolf.
Thank you, Councilor Hu. Yeah, I'll be brief. And again, I too, like Councilor Robbins, thanks for the reminder about July. So just real briefly, in July, I serve on the audit committee. We met, Moss Adams has been our accountant. They completed a merger with Baker Tilly, although the name retained for the firm is Baker Tilly. And that was really just as the kickoff of the audit, and then a review of the process, as well as any new GASB standards that are coming down the pipeline, and answered any questions of the audit committee present. And then a couple other things, Westside Economic Alliance, I serve on that board, and had a meeting that followed right after that, superintendent summit of most of the districts, not all, of the Washington County. And it was a great summit, really focused on workforce development, that pipeline of jobs, and what are we doing to connect those secondary school experiences to grow into employment. And then also I serve with my council president hat on the GAP committee for the chamber, and along with Councilor Schlack and Councilor Hu, did attend the regional-wide chamber event. Really appreciated that opportunity to hear from so many of our legislators, and have registered and looking forward to participating or attending the summit next week. And with that, that's it for me. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Do we have any questions for each other? Seeing none, so thank you so much for your report. So next up, it's Tiger Housing Policy Goal Update. And we have Housing Planner Miller and Assistant Community Development Director Warren. They will give staff report, and they will introduce our guests. So thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Wolf and City Councilors. My name is Skylar Warren. I'm the Assistant Director of Community Development. I'm also pleased to share that I'm joined tonight by the city's new housing planner, Trinity Miller. Trinity joined us last year and has done a tremendous job relaunching our Tigard Home project. She has a wealth of experience in housing policy work and will be a great leader for our housing programs. I also want to take a moment to thank the council for approving this new position in the last budget. This was one of the recommendations that was remaining to be fulfilled in our 2019 Affordable Housing Plan, and it will help us continue our great work in this area. I'm also joined tonight by three guests. First up will be Shannon Wilson, who's the Program Manager for the Office of Community Development of Washington County. We also have with us Molly Rogers, Director of Housing Services at Washington County, and Lisa Varon, Real Estate Division Manager at Housing Services. They're joining us online. I want to leave a lot of time for discussion, so I'm going to run through some housing-related updates quickly before I hand it off to Trinity and our guests. Next slide. First, I want to set the stage for this discussion by reminding the audience that the council has adopted as its goal one a goal to create housing opportunities for current and future residents. Housing has been a top priority for council over the past decade in light of the ongoing regional housing emergency. Strategy one of that goal is to develop an inclusive housing strategy that increases the variety of housing types while balancing the infrastructure capacity needs of the city. You'll hear more about how we plan to develop such a strategy later on with Trinity. Next slide. So since adopting this goal, I think we might have the wrong slide deck. Next slide. We have a newer slide deck that went out. Is there any way to bring that one up? If
One
not,
moment, I'll check.
If not, we can run through without the slides. That's the same one. So I think I'm just going to go through without the slides in the interest of time. If we can find it, that'll be great. But if not, we won't worry about it. So since adopting this goal, we have added the aforementioned housing planner position, relaunched the Tigard Home Project, and seen several new housing-related bills passed at the state level. I'm going to run through some key bills really quickly because they will impact the work program you will be hearing about tonight. First up is Senate Bill 974. This bill prohibits applying a quasi-judicial process to plan developments in up zones. This means that these will no longer go through the Planning Commission. It also prevents the application of design standards for housing developments of 20 units or more. And finally, it creates a shot clock for the review of final engineering plans. House Bill 2138 was the governor's marquee housing bill this past session. It makes some changes to require cities to allow detached middle housing product. It also allows developers to combine their applications for subdivisions and middle housing land divisions so that they can run concurrently. And it invalidates any existing CC&Rs. Those are private agreements between HOA members. It invalidates any CC&Rs that would restrict the development of middle housing. House Bill 2258 expands on the existing Permit Ready program at the state level to allow the state to eventually approve land use and building permits at the state level for certain types of development. And then lastly, House Bill 2021 establishes an infrastructure financing program and requires the Business Development Department to bring a candidate list of projects back for consideration in 2026. All right. Without the visual prompts, I'm going to run through very quickly the last 8 years or so of housing policy work here in Tigard to set the stage for the work plan moving forward and some of the updates you will hear from our Washington County colleagues. Back in 2018, the city adopted housing reform to legalize middle housing and adopted an exemption from SDCs, or system development charges, for affordable housing. In 2019, we followed that up with the adoption of the city's first affordable housing plan, which set the stage for many of the things that you will hear that follow, including the adoption of a construction excise tax that same year to fund affordable housing, as well as an exemption from system development charges for accessory dwelling units. In 2020, we followed a recommendation to elect joint entitlement in the Community Development Block Grant Program and set a policy priority for affordable housing projects in our 2 tax increment financing districts, the Triangle and Downtown. In 2021, we adopted a housing needs analysis as part of our River Terrace 2.0 concept planning process, and we launched our affordable homeownership program with Proud Ground, our region's community land trust. During the pandemic, we rolled out the Resident Aid Fund of Tigard to help stabilize our most vulnerable residents. In 2022, using pandemic relief funds, we established the Middle Housing Revolving Loan Fund to support the construction of accessible middle housing. And in 2023, as in past years, we expanded our advocacy work at the state and federal level, and that has continued every year subsequent. I'm now going to turn it over to Trinity for the remainder of the presentation.
Thank you, Skylar, and good evening, Council. My name is Trinity Miller, and I am the City of Tigard Housing Planner. Next, I'd like to share updates on recent affordable housing developments. Given the critical shortage of housing, preservation of existing regulated affordable housing is more important than ever. There are currently 15 existing housing developments, which include 1,238 total units in Tigard. 4 new affordable housing developments, which will create 288 additional units, are in development. In total, the existing developments have received federal funding, such as $1.6 million in home and over $689,000 in CDBG, as well as nearly $6 million in state LIHTC, or low-income housing tax credit funding. And locally, the properties are also eligible and supported by a local nonprofit tax exemption, which totals approximately $465,000 a year. Next, I'm going to talk about the work ahead. We've organized the work ahead into including upcoming council actions into a housing portfolio work plan. The work plan groups strategies into 3 categories: state requirements, regional priorities, and local initiatives. We are going to talk about the recommended portfolio and work items for the housing program, which will all advance Goal 1 of the council goals. Under state requirements, the first group, a top priority is to create a roadmap to housing production through the Housing Capacity Analysis and Housing Production Strategy Report. These reports will guide us to develop an inclusive housing strategy while balancing the needs of the city. The Housing Capacity Analysis and Housing Production Strategy will also come to council for future action. Under regional priorities, a regional priority is to utilize the city's affordable homeownership program to increase permanently affordable community land trust homes. Since the program began, 7 homes in Tigard have been added to the CLT and will be permanently affordable. The housing program will also have a key role in the development of River Terrace 2.0 housing policy set. We will continue to coordinate with regional partners and private developers to explore additional opportunities as new programs emerge. And local initiatives. Local initiatives that will advance Goal 1 include utilizing construction excise taxes to create new affordable housing and supporting long-term affordability through nonprofit affordable housing tax exemption programs. Additionally, new opportunities to increase the variety of housing types may result from the Middle Housing Revolving Loan Fund and the Tigard Home Project, which I've shared before. Council has expressed interest in considering additional policies and programs to advance the housing goal. We've included additional strategies for Council's consideration. Although these strategies are not currently programmed in the short-term housing portfolio work plan due to staff capacity and cost, they are still important. The protections against displacement group of work include strategies such as implementing a rental registration and inspection program, a relocation assistance program, and right to counsel program. These programs would directly impact our renters here in Tigard. And of the strategies shown, significant progress was made towards the rental registration and inspection program foundations. We also have identified some low priority strategies, and these were identified in the Affordable Housing Plan. These are high cost programs to implement and were listed as the lowest priority within that plan. If council wants to move any of these strategies up in priority, we would just request direction on how to adjust the work plan, and we'll talk about that later. And if any of these strategies are not addressed in the short-term housing work plan, they could also be further explored and included as part of the housing production strategy as anti-displacement strategies for housing equity impact.
we're not on the correct presentation. Can we just pull the presentation down, maybe?
I just bring that up because what you just said was referencing what's shown, and so I don't know what I want to increase priorities for because I can't see them. So.
Understood, absolutely. Thank you for saying that.
Sure.
I'm going to continue with my last statement and then we'll circle back if that's all right. Thank you very much. Yep. The recommended housing portfolio work plan is to pursue these strategies identified as state requirements, regional priorities, and local initiatives. And as capacity allows, we can continue other programs and strategies per council's direction. So during this workshop, we would like to hear from council if you all concur. Does council concur with the team's recommended approach to advance Goal 1? Additionally, are there other policies or programs council wants to prioritize as capacity allows? I apologize for the technical difficulties, but thank you for hearing me out today. And I would like to pass this to
I'll take it back. So
Skylar.
before we get into the discussion on this, I do want to offer the opportunity, our guests have some information to share with council about their agency's programs. And we will start with the Office of Community Development and Shannon Wilson.
Great, thank you. Good evening. And as Skylar said, my name is Shannon Wilson, and I lead the Office of Community Development for Washington County. And I just also wanted to share that I am a Tigard resident as well, so didn't have far to come for this meeting. So I appreciate living in Tigard and hearing more about the other work that you're doing as a council. So I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. And as Councilor Shaw referenced in her update, so Councilor Shaw is our current vice chair of our advisory body for our office, so the Policy Advisory Board, and Mayor Pro Tem Wolf was previously on that advisory board body. So we just really appreciate that support of our work as well. And so a lot of the work that we do is administer federal funding that comes from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development that helps support a lot of the projects that Skylar and Trinity were talking about. And so an important component of that work as it directly relates to housing are the Home Investment Partnerships program funding. So often that can be the first money into a project that helps it be successful at the state level to attract state funding and state investment across the county, including in Tigard. And then through our community development block grant funding, we support and directly operate a housing rehab program so that our staff work directly with low and moderate income homeowners to cover the costs of critical repairs to their home or accessibility upgrades that allow them to remain in their home. A couple other things I wanted to highlight in my brief comments. So first, I just wanted to say thank you to Tigard. I've had the opportunity to work my whole career in the geography of Washington County. I first worked for 16 years for Community Partners for Affordable Housing, a local nonprofit that's based in Tigard. And then moved over to the county about 8 years ago. And so I've had the opportunity to see all those, the different programs that were initiated that the city has done, that Skylar was talking about, as well as prior to that. I think Tigard was the first jurisdiction in the county to start a property tax exemption program for affordable housing. And it's just always been a leader, at least in the years that I've been doing this, for incentives for affordable housing, and just really setting a vision for affordable housing as well. So I just really wanted to say thank you. And then the other thing I wanted to highlight is that we recently were recognized by one of our national industry groups, it's a long acronym, as most of them are, the National Association for County, Community, and Economic Development. It's also known as NACED. So we recently received 2 awards of excellence at their conference just last week. We had one of our staff there. And so actually both of the projects that we won awards for are in Tigard. And so I just wanted to talk briefly about both of those. So the first one was in the category of affordable housing, and that was for the Alongside Senior Housing Project. And so these awards are recognizing our role that we had in administering the federal dollars, but clearly it takes very many more partners. My colleagues at the Department of Housing also invested in that project. The city really started with a vision, and city-owned land and having
such an engaged community process and then developer selection process that really made that project happen. But so that made our work easy in terms of administering those federal dollars and then being recognized with that award. So I wanted to share that with you, since the city did a lot of work too in that project. And then the other award that we received was in the category of innovation, and that was for Just Compassion's Safe Parking Program. And so we've supported that with the Community Development Block Grant for the past couple of years as the program has kind of gotten off the ground. And so again, the City of Tigard has really been instrumental in making that successful. So we've been offering up your own parking lot as one of the sites. And so just wanted to raise those as two examples of the projects that we fund and invest in, how we utilize those federal dollars specifically in Tigard. So, and just really thanks again for the opportunity to be here.
And with that, I think our online guests, I believe we're starting with Molly. Molly,
Yeah. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Wolf and city councilors. For the record, my name is Molly Rogers, and I'm the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of Washington County. Joining me tonight is Lisa Varon. She is our Real Estate Division Manager, has been with us for a little bit over a year now. So we're still a nascent team. We get to benefit from all the institutional knowledge that Shannon brings to bear, and of course, our strong partnership with the City of Tigard staff, like Skylar, and it's nice to meet you, Trinity. So you guys, I just would like to just say we highly applaud the incredible efforts that you have all done to facilitate affordable housing in Tigard. You guys have taken on more tools and incentives than we've seen in other cities, and it has, I think the outcomes have borne out, and we've seen some great developments happening in your community. Next slide. So I think Skylar asked me to talk a little bit about our HAWK pipeline, HAWK being the Housing Authority of Washington County. And I just wanted to look back in time a little bit. We've had tremendous growth in the last 5 years, along with other cities and other affordable housing developments, mainly due to the voter-approved Metro Affordable Housing Bond. And then for us in particular, we've gone through a pretty significant renovation effort of about over half of our affordable housing portfolio. So when we look at, and of course, as you all know, we did acquire Wood Springs Apartment, and Lisa's going to do a little bit of an update on that effort. So it's great to be able to do new construction and add to the supply of affordable regulated units. At the same time, make sure we're taking care of the stock that we own and make sure that our residents can live in dignity for generations to come. So we're always balancing preservation and renovation needs with the need for more affordable housing in our community. So just 5 years ago, we owned 884 units of affordable or public housing. Now we've increased that up to 1,148 units. Back then, we didn't own any what we call low-income housing tax credit projects. Those are projects where typically a housing authority or a nonprofit, could be a for-profit too, but you enter into a limited partnership with an investor where they are able to benefit from receiving tax credits, and it's the primary funding source for affordable housing, really across the country. So we didn't have any at that time, and now we have developed 4 what we call LIHTC, or low-income housing tax credit properties, with over 800 units within them. Back then, we did help facilitate other developers to create those partnerships in 7 properties in about 1,500 units, mainly to extend a property tax exemption. And now we have been able to work with 4 additional projects and close to 2,000 units that we have some kind of relationship with. So tremendous growth, just like a lot of the work that we are doing in the community. Just wanted to just mention that with the Metro bonds, we've been able to really increase the number of affordable housing units in Washington County by 25%. Next slide. So just to break down our current number of units that we own and operate, that 1,148 unit breakdown, close to 900 of them are what we call affordable housing. Those are they're regulated for long-term affordability, generally tied to state and other types of regulatory agreements. And right now we're seeing about a 93% occupancy, which is actually close. That is where market is. The market is experiencing around 7% vacancy rate these days. And those are the units. Most of them are the ones, about over 600 have gone through massive renovation through the generation of getting low-income housing tax credits. And then the remaining part of our portfolio, 257, what we call as public housing and single-family homes, and around the same kind of occupancy level. And some of those are going through what we call an effort that has been approved by HUD, where those most distressed units we're been able to get what we call tenant protection vouchers for those residents, and they will be able to move to other homes or purchase the homes that they are living in. But then we will then sell the public housing units to nonprofits, to the market, for those if those current residents are unable to purchase their own homes. So that's partly why you see a little bit of a vacancy rate for those. Next slide. This slide really shows there's a smattering of affordable housing all over the county. It's great to see a geographic disbursement of affordable housing. We know there's need all over, and we do get to see on that chart there by city is Tigard has the second most number of affordable housing units across the county. The largest being those residing in the city of Hillsborough. The third largest number of units are in Beaverton, and then Aloha after that. So great, incredible work by this council and your team to help facilitate this great development. Next slide. Now I'm going to turn it over to Lisa.
Good evening, City Council. Washington County has several different roles in affordable housing. We fund affordable housing through the Metro Affordable Housing Bond, through our HUD Home and CDBG programs, and through our Housing Production Opportunity Fund. As the Housing Authority, we own and operate both public housing and deed-restricted housing, as Executive Director Rogers described earlier. This slide is a preview of the affordable housing projects that the Housing Authority of Washington County is developing. Specific to Tigard, this past spring, we completed the permanent conversion of the affordable housing portfolio rehabilitation, which includes 96 units at Bonita Villa Apartments and 96 units at the Ridge at Bull Mountain. And next week, we're scheduled to close the financing and start construction on Woodspring Apartments. Next slide, please. So Woodspring Apartments is 172 two-bedroom units in Tigard. Residents in the community requested support to retain their affordable homes after the affordability covenants on the property had expired. The Housing Authority of Washington County purchased the property in 2023 and has been assembling the financing and team needed to rehabilitate the property. The total development cost, including acquisition, is $90 million. HAWK is issuing $48 million in revenue bonds for the renovation. The design build team is Walsh Construction and MWA. We're thrilled to announce that next week we will be closing the financing and beginning construction. Next slide. With this last slide, we're sharing with you our 5-year real estate strategy, which includes 5 broad goals. One is for us to develop a prioritized evaluation framework for housing as the county. Excuse me. One is to build a sustainable real estate operation. The third is to create a sustainable development pipeline. The fourth, to position the real estate portfolio for long-term resiliency. And the fifth is to operate a best-in-class asset management program to ensure that our properties last as long as possible for the valued residents who live in them. And so with this slide, I am concluding our presentation.
Great, thank you. Before we get into the discussion, Victor, would it be possible to pull up the previous presentation and go to the work program slide?
Yes, one moment, please.
Okay, thank you. And so for council's benefit, as a reminder, the prompts that we had for you on the city side are, does our proposed work program align with your vision for goal 1? And do you have other questions of us related to our housing programs and policies in place, or for, any for our guests as well? And sorry, Victor, it's towards the end, a little bit further. Maybe a few more. One more. There we go. Thank you.
Councillor Shaw, please go ahead.
Great. Thank you so much. I want to really thank our guest speakers for the information you provided. It's good to see all the work that's being done, particularly in the rehabilitation. So thank you so much. With regards to the presentation from our staff, Trinity and Skylar, thank you very much. At this point, I don't think I have enough information with regards to the recommended work plan, either the state requirements or the regional priorities or the local initiatives to provide feedback. I know in the past we've talked about having some financial metrics aligned with programs such as protection against displacement. And the reason I bring that one specifically is I am very concerned that the costs will be borne by the renters, particularly those who are seniors who are on fixed incomes and could not pay for substantial increases. And so I believe last time we chatted, you were going to have some metrics on costs for both the protection against displacement, the low priority strategies, and really would like to see those. And with regards to the recommended work plan, I'd like to see that broken out into a spreadsheet, again, with the proposals, what the costs would be. That would be very helpful from my perspective. So thank you very much, but I'm not prepared to, without those data and those metrics, be prepared to provide any content or feedback. Thank you.
May I offer some information? If we could go back one slide, I think that might help. I think actually one more slide. So I think what we were missing while Trinity was presenting was this. These are the this is the list of existing ongoing programs as well as new initiatives and requirements that we will have that will that are part of the proposed work program. So those state requirements are the housing capacity analysis and the housing production strategy that is required by the state for us. We also have annual housing reporting that we must do each year. We're going to have to update that to comply with the new metrics and standards of the state. And then there will be, from that list of House bills that you heard me discuss, a number of compliance measures that we will have to implement to come into compliance with the law. And so that will take, some of those take effect in January of 2026, some take effect in January of 2027, and then some in 2028. Each of them is a development code update. And so we will have to dedicate some staff capacity to updating our code to meet those regulations. At the regional level, we have the River Terrace 2.0 housing policy work, and Trinity Housing Planner Miller will be serving as part of the team that is working on the policy set to support housing in River Terrace 2.0. We have existing programs like our affordable homeownership program with Proud Ground, ongoing coordination with regional and private developers, and then the local initiatives that you're seeing here are, there is Tigered Home, which is a code project that could bring in some of those state compliance needs. But we have a number of local initiatives that are just ongoing programs that require some level of staff allocation of time to maintain them. Does that help, Councilor Shaw? I think it was confusing because we didn't have this laid out.
Thank you, Skylar. I appreciate the additional information. For me, I'm sorry if I'm still somewhat confused just because we've been asked to concur with the team's recommendation approach to Advance Goal 1. So I'm not 100% sure what is the team's recommended approach. And just the way my mind had worked is it'd be really great just to have the ability to have the program with the financial picture, but that's just me, and I'm happy to turn it over to the other counselors to respond as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think I have Councilor Schlack first, so go ahead.
Thank you, Councilor Hu. I agree with Councilor Shaw, and I think, yeah, I'm just sort of comparing this to Goal 2, our economic development plan, which is an ongoing process. I would like just a little bit more time to sort of take in a lot of the housing programs that are being proposed and discussed, just because I think this is one of our council goals. It's a very important council goal to many members of our community. So that would just be my personal preference. It's not saying anything negative about anything that's going on. I think they're all great programs. I would just like a little bit more time to absorb what's being discussed and maybe come back at a future meeting. And I think Councilor Shaw's suggestion of maybe how to structure some of the information to streamline council decision making would be helpful as well.
I think for state requirement, it's not an option, right? We have to do it because it's a state requirement.
Yes, so the housing capacity analysis and housing production strategy, those are pretty large. That's going to be a pretty large outlay of time for the housing planner position. We actually do have a document that kind of lays this out, so it should be easy to share this with council in spreadsheet form. But this is alone probably 50% of the time over the next year is going to be spent on this program. And council did, thank you, approve the resolution of support last week for the grants to support that work. And so, yes, in order to comply with state deadlines to get those done, we will have to complete them over the next year. And then we do have the, as I mentioned, the compliance with the legislative changes as well, which will require some changes to code. And a great example of that is, I mentioned the detached middle housing units. Currently, we do not allow detached triplexes and detached duplexes. So we will have to update the code to actually offer that as an option for developers.
So it would be helpful. I agree with Councilor Shaw and Councilor Schlack. We need to have more structure outline of what you are asking us to do, but it would be helpful to separate out those things that you have to do anyway. So the rest would lead to sort of council, priority sort of list. So Councilor Schlack, can I follow up?
Well, and I just wanted to add, I really appreciate that note about capacity for the FTEs that are going to be helping address this council goal. So understanding that those state requirements are going to could take 50% of capacity is really helpful when trying to understand what are our policies and making sure we're communicating them with proportionate weighting, if that makes sense. I think that sort of information would be helpful as well. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. And we have Mayor Pro Tem Wolf. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Councilor Hu. And actually, I think Skylar and then Councilor Schlack addressed that. That was going to be my request. Thank you, Councilor Shaw, for immediately raising that question, because I think it's direct resources to programs and then the opportunity cost of time. What's required, whether it's federal, state legislative changes, all those components, and then what's left, what are the levers that would prioritize certain components. So I think we're all singing from the same hymnal at this point on just needing a clarity around what truly are our options given all the requirements. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Robbins.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. I know it's hard to give a presentation first without the visual cue. I'm certain, you know, when I do these, I plan, I'm going to see this and I'm going to say this, and you didn't have any of that. So, but because of that, and because of the technical difficulties, I even had trouble following a little bit of this because there was so much background and so many acronyms. Like, for instance, on this slide, I cannot remember what CLT homes stand for. Honestly, Skylar, I don't understand what a detached triplex would be, because to me, a triplex is 3 homes smushed together, or attached, right? And so how is it detached? So, so that's just you know, you guys are the experts and I'm not. I agree that we need some more information to be able to prioritize. I'm a little confused, like on this slide, certainly state requirements required, local, regional priorities, some of that I think is required. Are you asking us to prioritize the local initiatives, or the local initiatives already in the works and there's something else we're supposed to prioritize? So that's a question I have, along with the financial and the staffing, because perhaps we want to prioritize something that we don't have the funds for, or the staffing for. And also, you know, this is a very difficult question, because some of this is bringing up things like property tax exemptions, and something we dealt with in the budget is that we don't have enough property tax income. And so the more housing, you know, I guess on the one hand, you think more people are coming to live here, so more people will pay taxes, that's great. But then as the percentage of affordable housing increases, which I do want that to happen, but at the same time, that means the percentage of properties that aren't paying the full property taxes changes, and that could impact our overall budgetary and income. Right now, you know, our housing supply of affordable housing is not a very large percentage, but I would love to have some insight into, as we increase it, at what point do we say, hey, this is to the point where perhaps this tax exemption is unsustainable, you know, looking at those bigger picture questions. And so it's hard to, this is a big responsibility, and I just want to make sure we do it right. Better to do it right than fast, I guess. And I know it doesn't feel fast for you guys, and you do so much work, and I do appreciate it, and it just, all the different sides really weigh on me.
Yeah, I think I echo the sentiment of my fellow councilors. Just it would be helpful for me to have a more clear picture of what's required, what's optional, and what you want us to prioritize. I think that would be very helpful. But I really thank you all for your presentation. And you know, as our Washington County partner mentioned, the county and our city have been doing a lot in terms of affordable housing. Just look at the number of units in Tiger compared to bigger cities. And so I'm encouraged that what we're doing, but I think we just need a little bit more directions from you guys. So do you have any questions for us, or any more directions?
I think we will follow up with city management about how to get this information to you, whether it's as a memo or in a follow-up presentation. But thank you all so much for your time and for the questions.
All right. Thank you all so much. Thank you. All right. So next item is our non-agenda item. Councilor Robbins, you have the floor.
Thank you. And these mics are so much easier for me. So the League of Oregon City conference is coming up soon, October 4th, I think, that first weekend. And I just noticed when I was looking at registrations that we have to designate, of those of us who are going, who is going to be the voting member. I have handled things like this before. I was a member of House of Delegates for OSPA, and basically you go hoping you understand the the wishes of the rest of council, and you're voting in the stead of everybody as one. So I do plan to attend. I am happy to take on that role, but if somebody else who's also attending the conference wants to take that on, I won't. You know, we can decide that further.
Anybody have issue with Councilor Robin voting on behalf of a council at an LOC conference?
I do not. I just was wondering, I will also be at the conference, but I didn't preview that portion of it. So I was just wondering, do you have any idea of what some of the topics may be? Or just, I trust your judgment anyway. I just figured I would ask before we do a motion and a vote.
I don't know. It's
Councilor
it's
Shaw?
at the it's during the business meeting. I know the voting happens at the end, from what I heard. I can try to find out more, and we can, you know, kind of have a little discussion during the conference. I don't know what it is, so.
Councilor Shaw?
Thank you, Councilor Hu. Yeah, happy to support Councilor Robbins on behalf of the council. And I know in the past they've done it a couple of different ways. They've provided ahead of time what the vote was going to be on, so that Councilor Robbins, you could share that with the council, and then other times it's been at that meeting. So then it's I think you decide how you update the council, but more than happy to have you provide that. And I know in the past it was provided by the mayor, and if the mayor was not available, then by their designee. So thank you so much.
All right. Go ahead, Councilor Stock.
I know when I did see you send that out, they had a resolution suggested, but I figure a vote, just a motion, would be sufficient. So I moved to designate Councilor Heather Robbins as the City of Tigard's delegate to the League of Oregon Cities Conference that is coming up this October.
I second.
Mayor Pro Tem Wolf, do you have comments?
I did, but it can be a discussion. I was just going to comment that I am attending, but happy to support Councilor Robbins in fulfilling that position. So.
Okay, so we have a motion in front of us, and it's been seconds. So all those in favor say aye.
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 Those disagree, who say no? None? Okay, so the motion passes. So please, thank you. Thank you for doing the work for us. Anything else?
Just real quick, I did print out an email that I got, or something, that if you want to be on the League of Oregon Cities Board of Directors, the deadline to file is tomorrow. You can run for vice president or one of two, just member-at-large positions, city official director. Both terms would be 3-year terms, beginning in January. Deadline is tomorrow.
Thank you. All right, so that's end of our agenda items. So we'll adjourn the meeting. Good night, Tiger.